So if someone else would like to field that.
Oh, come on, Fred. Don't be.
I'm saying what you said. You said I'm dominating the conversation, so I'm letting someone else talk. If you want me to address it, I'll address it.
Yeah.
I'm just very curious how really. You guys want to talk about Phil 24/7, 100% of the time?
No,
I mean, wouldn't that be considered? Wouldn't it be considered if you were just mainly 100% all the time focused on Phil, screen capture and everything he's saying, watching every one of his streams, making videos about him all the time? Couldn't that be saying that you are unhealthy, like in an unhealthy way, obsessed with the man, and you're just trying to get famous off of his notoriety or whatever, notoriety?
No.
You could say the same thing. It goes both ways.
No, because the difference is I even said it before that you guys can talk about whatever you want. When you're having a famous person.
Rockwell, you got a lot of background noise, buddy.
All right.
When you're having a famous person on there, on the podcast, and you're trying to get all these people, then what that looks like to the outsider is that you're trying to get popular off of Phil. That's
okay.
I said,
so I'll address.
Okay, I see your point, but I'm just saying it goes both ways because they could just say that we're trying to get popular by obsessing over Phil 24/7. We're trying to get famous off of his notoriety.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say is that, and this is what I said. It doesn't have to be about Phil 24/7 in the podcast. I said, as long as it's like, if it can be Phil sometimes, or maybe, you just discuss Phil and then random things, I said I had no problem with that. I have zero problem with it. But what I have a problem with is like when if you're going to put famous people on there and you're going to have like, the chef guy and all that, I'm just saying that might hurt. And that's what I'm worried about. And that's what I was trying to address with Fred when I was one-on-one with him, because it could hurt. It could hurt.
So let me address that one. I've been chomping at the bit to address this. So we've had 5 podcasts. First one had no guests. Second one had Timbo Slice and Drillbit, who are DSP mods. Third one had Cooking with Jack, which if you were around, you would know that was a big thing between the group. We were doing Insta-syncs of Cooking with Jack, who we referred to as the DSP of cooking, and we find humor in having him. So we essentially were joking around and had a Skype call with him, and I just had the crazy idea, hey man, he revealed to us he's a gamer, and I said, hey, why don't you come on our podcast? And he came on, and he was a good guest, and we built a nice friendship with him. Fourth podcast was the Lemon and Sly Spy.
Yeah, and that's
Fifth podcast, I had nothing to do with that. Fifth podcast was Captain Chaos, a guy who does still make DSP content, but was someone that Moogle and Carson had gotten into the podcast. So out of 5 podcasts, we had 1 famous person, and that was an inside joke between the group.
Yeah, but it doesn't change that you're still trying to invite famous people. I've heard around that basically you're trying to get Internet Aristocrat, you're trying to get Larry Bundy Jr., Total Biscuit, or, some of these other guys. And
those 2, the only one that's valid is Larry Bundy Jr., and he has DSP stuff that he talks about. We got Mighty Furtado that's coming on. We've got Hazard and Beachy that's coming on. We're going to have Normal Difficulty if he agrees to be on. These are people, and probably Mr. Ludacris, these are people that are anti-DSP. But again, we can't just talk about DSP all the time because that hurts our credibility. And I don't care if you say that that's caring about other people's perception, because you've addressed people's perception earlier today. It's simple that we cannot be credible if we always and only talk about DSP. It makes us seem like fanatics. It makes us seem obsessed, and it's something that's actually used against us as far as ammunition. Those guys have no lives outside of DSP.
Straw man. Called it. Basically, you're straw manning me, because what I said, you're saying that what I said was that basically you have to talk about all the time or none at all. I've expressed this even in my videos, that it doesn't always have to be this way. And I understand that, you can evolve the mods, or sometimes you might want to talk about your own thing. That's fine. I never said there was a problem. I said when it comes to famous people, because Phil
One famous person.
Famous person would be, if like, Das bullshit, or other people show up. This is just a hypothetical, because I don't know. We all don't know if they're going to show or not. You don't know either. But what I'm trying to say is if they do, then that hurts you, because in general, then the fans will say, well, they're just trying to get famous. They're trying to plug their own channel at the end. And they're just trying to, get famous and try to make themselves famous, and they're trying to put it under guise of, oh, we hate Phil, but we want to get famous off of Phil. And
but we're not.
That may or may not be true, but it would.
They could say the same thing about you for always talking about DSP on your channel.
Not exactly, because
yes. How but to me it feels like what you're saying is. To me, it feels like what you're saying is that it only matters if they're famous. So if we have somebody that's not famous that has nothing at fuck all to do with anything DSP, then that's fine. But if it's famous, it becomes a problem. Now, it doesn't make any sense what you're saying. That makes no fucking sense.
Because if you have someone, because Phil's always said it. I don't think you know this, but Phil has said
no matter what, it always is gonna. Do you understand that there's always gonna be people that are gonna make up any fucking excuse? You could say that just because we have famous or internet famous people on, but the same thing is said about you, the King of Divas, whatever. He's a parody account, but guess what? It's always Phil about. It's always Phil, 24/7. All this content is about Phil. But wouldn't you say that you're trying to get some fucking notoriety or some
no, not really, because
fucking clout just based off fucking doing Phil videos? What? Can you let me finish my fucking point? Okay. Can you stop ignoring me? God damn.
Sorry.
Well, I'm just saying. The thing is, okay, talk. I'm sorry. Let you go.
And I apologize. I'm not trying to be mean. I don't want to come off like that. I understand everybody's point. I'm just saying that, in general, like my channel, when Phil leaves, my channel's dead. Let's be honest here. Even my channel is already dead anyways because Phil's dead in the water. When you think about it, he's dead. He's practically.
So why talk about him all the time?
Yeah, but why make it the SOK channel if it's everyone knows the Sons of Kojima was supposed to be about Phil, but unless you guys change your mind, that's fine. I understand that, but at least address that it's no longer going to be about Phil anymore.
But it still is. Like I'm saying, the only famous guest that we had was an inside joke between us. I don't know if you comprehend that Cooking with Jack originated as something that we were doing as a group on Skype calls in InstaSync. We were watching his videos, and to have him on was an inside joke between us. It was more to have fun.
Yeah, but you
have
can't,
him on.
No, but you can't.
And it's just one person out of 5. So 20% of our current podcast, not including the ones that were lost. So the test cast and the emergency broadcast, 20% have been with one famous person that was an inside joke between us. The other people have been Phil people.
Yeah, and it's fair. I mean, it's a fair argument, but you can't just say, well, you can't. Everyone has an angle, and everyone has, something. Like. For example, if you have a famous person, then, you can't necessarily always say that it's just an inside joke all the time. I mean, sometimes there's reasons behind it, that may not be known.
We specifically said that it was going to be an inside joke, and we were specifically saying that it's something that our fans who have been following our Twitters about the Jack stuff would enjoy.
Yeah, and
we didn't get him on and kiss his ass and have him. He didn't do any plugs or anything like that. The point was just to have a cool conversation with him, and it was an inside joke between us. It ended up being a cooler conversation than we expected, and he ended up saying, I'm here for you guys, and I love being on. I love what you guys are doing and stuff like that. But I mean, it honestly, he could have had 30,000 subscribers. He actually has less than Phil, which I will get to in addition. But he's not even that famous.
Yeah, but
he's less famous than Phil.
It doesn't matter, in general, how many subs he has. In general, he is kind of popular. He is kind of known. You know what I'm saying? He has a presence.
Right. But if he had 30,000 followers or if he had 3 followers, we still would have invited him on because we enjoyed watching his videos on InstaSync, and it was a joke between us.
And that's fine.
The point to get him wasn't that he was famous.
All right, fair point. But, it still doesn't, people could still say that. I'm just throwing that out.
But you said we're not supposed to worry. Sorry, go ahead, Carl.
No, what he said, people are still going to say stuff. People are still going to say stuff regardless of what we do. We could have no famous people at all, any of that shit, and people are going to nitpick and say, oh, they're doing this because of this. Oh, they're doing that because of that. That's always going to happen, dude. Yeah. Because it's seriously, so regardless of whether it's famous people or Phil people or any of that, it's not going to make a difference, in my opinion.
Yeah, I know, but I just have that feeling like it will help, it will hurt more than help, and that may be, people may have a difference of opinion, and I respect that.
Yeah. I definitely have a difference of opinion on that. I somewhat agree with Fred that we still primarily, not totally, but primarily are focused on Phil when it comes to the podcast.
Yeah.
Primarily. But like he said, I brought this up after the podcast today, that we got to get a little bit more stuff to talk about, so there's no dead air, there's no repetitive stuff, because it's going to get stale eventually. It really is.
Yeah, and I agree, and I never, like I said, I don't have I don't, like I said, I have zero problems with whatever people talk about, but I'm just, when I see like this guy on there, and then I keep hearing that other famous people are going to show, I get one of those feelings that maybe it might turn the tide.
I think I don't mean this in an offensive way, so please don't take offense. But I think you're just being overly paranoid. I mean not to be offensive. I really don't.
It could be true that it could be true that I'm being paranoid, but at the same time, that's just how I feel about it. I mean.
Oh no, yeah, no. I respect your opinion. I'm just saying, but I think that it's just you're looking a little too much into it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and in general, I'm not mad about it. Like I said, I don't care, but in general, I'm not trying to control the podcast. All I'm just trying to say is, that this might hurt, and in general, I don't know whether or not that would turn the tide, and one thing I always want to do is I don't want to give, the Phil fans any advantage. I don't want to give them anything.
And neither do we.
No, yeah, I agree.
That's part of when we talk about their perception of us and taking stuff away from them. So, for example, the fact that we just focus on Phil all the time, that's ammunition that they use against us. And that's exactly what you're expressing is exactly what we're trying to do.
But
they're going to say we're obsessed.
So we're doing it wrong because we're not doing it your way, I'm assuming.
No, but you didn't hear what I said. I said it was okay. I said I don't care what you guys talk about. I just said the famous people is my only criticism. That was it. But that was it. And in general, I just, but the same thing can be, but what Carl's words have said to, for Fred, could be said the same for me. That, they're always going to say I'm obsessed too, but by the end of the day, they're always going to find a way to nitpick it too. So.
Yeah, exactly. They always are. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. They're always going to nitpick it, period. No bullshit.
Yeah, okay, and I understand.
So, and the other thing, like, when it comes to you and Loophole, like, yeah, like, Ren's in charge. I get that. But when it comes to what we do on the podcast or as a group, it's a group thing, dude. Like, you always have a say. You got to remember that. If you have an issue, like Fred was saying earlier, if you have an issue, bring it up. Don't be worried about, how are they going to think about me if I say this. Dude, just bring it up. None of us have ever, like, we've always brought it up, and shit gets resolved. And we do, if we have differences of opinion, we try to meet halfway. And it's always been like that. So there's no reason that this should be happening right now.
Yeah.
Sure. Loophole, you, Text, even Burn, whatever, man. It's like, this shouldn't be fucking happening.
Yeah, I know. But the thing is, it is. I mean, but that's the thing. It's not, you got to understand, it's not just, that wasn't the only thing that was happening that was causing this rift. I'm not the central thing to it, because, the other people like Tex had a different problem. I'm not,
Speaking of that, Tex, you still around?
Yeah.
No, is he here?
Tex.
Yes.
Yeah. What was the issue you were bringing up earlier that you were trying to talk about?
Is it my turn to speak?
It's your turn to speak.
I tried a couple times. It didn't go so well.
Yeah, what did you mentioned.
Basically, what I've been saying was, I go away for a week, with my girlfriend, and then I come back, and then I'm being told that I'm part of some sort of insurrection against the SOK chat. So I really didn't, I'm being told there's basically some confirmation of that, and that makes me very unhappy.
Mm-hmm.
If people want to talk shit, like saying, oh, well, you shouldn't talk behind their back, but then do partake in talking behind people's back, yeah, it's a little hypocritical.
May I ask how this even happened?
No, who told you that?
I'm just.
Well, I mean, we're airing stuff out, so don't hide anything.
Is that important? I mean, if
yes, it is important.
It's very important for the validity.
I want to know who said exactly that text is starting something against. I want to know who exactly said. I don't remember anyone saying.
I'm not starting anything
text.
against anybody.
Yeah, no, I said who told that. Someone said that specifically is starting something.
Okay, well, I was informed by two different people. I was informed by Divas, and I was informed by Loop that I was in.
Okay, well, Divas wasn't there.
Yeah, you were more.
And this is Divas spreading stuff, right? I mean, this is the thing that we were sort of talking about.
It wasn't Divas.
Okay, well,
it wasn't Divas who said it because he wasn't there.
No, I think you're sort of covering for Divas. I think Tex didn't miss his words. He said specifically Divas and Loop.
Let Tex finish.
Let me look. Hold on.
Let Tex finish, dude.
Yeah, seriously. Let him do his thing.
All right. Okay, you are correct. Yes, it was just Loop. I'm looking through what Diva sent me. It was just Loop.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But I mean, but the fact that it sounds like there's some truth to it because no one is saying, outright denying it. It sounds like there was some talk about me while I was gone, and I didn't say shit about anybody.
Not in particular. We didn't say text. And as a matter of fact, no one in particular even really brought up your name. What I remember is that no one brought up your name.
I'm hearing differently.
Yeah.
Well, honestly, Tex, you know me, man. I don't bullshit you.
No,
I'm back and Fred on this. From what I can tell, nobody brought your name up, man. Honestly.
Yeah, like I never heard such a thing. Like I always had the impression that maybe you were like taking a break from Skype, like just taking a break from the internet, basically. Because I hardly ever see you from Twitter now, Just a little bit here and there,
Well, like I said, and I even announced this on Twitter. I said that I'm going to be with my girlfriend for a week, so it's it's going to be
right. So that's out of the way.
Right.
Okay, so, but I mean, it sounds like what it sounded like was anyone who wasn't talking much was part of some secret group that didn't exist.
Yeah.
It seems like that was speculation or some shit. Like,
well, that's rather paranoid. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
And it was also Fred that had that speculation too, even with me.
Several people, yes, I was one of them. I was a person that thought that because I saw that there was less activity in the main chat, that people just don't stop talking to one another, that there might be some other group of dissatisfied individuals. Yes.
Okay.
And what we see here tonight is a group of dissatisfied individuals that have decided to break from the group. I mean, it's not...
I didn't do shit. I mean, I was just approached by, Loop and Divas about, what was going on, and I'm like, oh, okay. Okay. I had nothing to do
what were
with
you told
any
that was going on?
What?
Same here.
What?
Like, what were you told that was going on? Because it seemed like Loophole is behind the scenes, kind of pulling the strings and rallying people together and telling them his version of what's going on.
I was just told that there was some dissatisfaction and that, that there might be that they would be leaving the group. That's all.
Yeah.
So they told you that they want you to leave. That sounds like. So I guess what I'm trying to get at is
they wanted me to leave.
No, I'm asking you a question because you just framed it as there might be dissension and we might be leaving the group. So I was just asking what you were told.
I didn't say we. That's not what I said. I said they were leaving the group. I didn't say me.
Gotcha. Okay.
And I said, oh, okay. Well, thank you for letting me know. And then we were just having a group discussion this evening. And I mean, I kind of came into it late and they just sort of briefed me on what was going on. And I'm like, oh, okay. I haven't been doing shit, man. Like I said, I've been with my woman for the past week.
No one is accusing you of doing shit. And I think we cleared up the fact that no one specifically brought you up as being someone who's leading an insurrection or how you put it.
The mere fact that you're talking about that I kind of take umbrage at is the fact that because I hadn't been active, it's automatically assumed that I must be dissatisfied or that I'm part of some secret group.
Well, hold on.
It just comes off as paranoid.
To be fair, let's talk about the sequence of what has happened over the last couple of weeks. All right, I'm not gonna bring it up, but you know that you and Fred got into it and all that stuff, and not even before that, Lupo and Fred got into it. So it's not unfair to think that that as soon as that happens and no one talks to anyone or anything like that, they could be like, oh well, they might have a problem. It's not paranoia. It's just looking at the sequence of concept. What happened, looking at everything that happened. So it probably is a coincidence, but it's not like this all came out of nowhere. Like everything was okay and someone left for a week and they're like, oh well, he's doing something.
Well, wasn't it Freud who said sometimes a cigar is just a cigar? I mean, like the only conversations that I've really had were with Loop and with Carl, and that was just about like a convention that I went to and shit. Nothing of anything even related to Phil or anything.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's just now that we have that cleared up. Text, are there any issues that you have in particular that you'd like to air out?
Not really. I mean, I'm like I said, I don't even, I wasn't even fucking there. I don't even think I've been in anything since, we had our little spat. So I mean, I don't know. I don't have really anything right now.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you feel that the conversation, the spat that we had, that it resolved satisfactorily? I mean, I apologize to you, and it seemed like everything was obviously not perfect after that, but I feel like we reached a civil closure on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine.
But it still doesn't change my decision to leave. I think, in general, Loophole, Text, and, a couple people, we all agree that, we just don't want to do the group thing. If that's okay with you, we just want to talk to other people.
No, you definitely don't need our permission, man. Honestly, it's not like you're asking for permission. We don't want to keep you hostage to a group you don't want to be a part of. My consideration personally was I don't want to see the group splinter up, especially over something that could possibly be patched up if we were to talk about it. So for right now, this conversation that we're having, if we reached an agreement with each other, if we decided to address certain issues with one another and try to work on these things, it's possible we can keep the group together. But if a decision that you already came in here with was I'm going to leave, I mean, I don't feel I have any right to keep you here. I don't think Renegade would want to specifically try to hold you hostage if you want to leave. I mean, it's not like a gang where you have to die to leave.
I just want to address something, and you could do whatever you want. But okay, people that are in the call, why are anyone complaining about this call or anything on Twitter? People want this thing to be resolved, yet they're going on Twitter and making everything public like a woman that's dissatisfied with her man.